Alright guys, so we have a few interesting pieces of information that I wanted to bring to you. I know that things are relatively slow right now. It's pretty normal every summer for things within the gaming industry to kind of slow down to a crawl. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes, even with game releases. All of the big publishers are kind of saving everything for the holiday season. Can't really do anything about it, but there are still a few interesting things to talk about. So we're going to be talking a little bit about GameStop and how apparently they are very happy that both the PS5 and Xbox Scarlet are going to feature disk drives. And on top of that, there is a developer who has went on record saying that he believes that both the PlayStation 5 and Project Scarlet are going to have a major struggle next generation because, as he puts it, exclusivity is going away. So we're going to touch on that as well. And finally, we are going to talk a little bit about Sony hosting Evo and how there is a lot of speculation going on because of that they're going to have some big fighting game announcement for the PlayStation. So we're going to talk about that as well. But starting here with GameStop, says new video game consoles are coming. Microsoft's Project Scarlet platform is scheduled for release in holiday 2020, while Sony's next generation PlayStation system is rumored to release around that time as well. Both Scarlet and the PS5 will have disk drives, and retailer GameStop is pleased about that following some ongoing turmoil related to the all-digital Xbox One S model. The retailer's chief customer officer, Frank Hamlin, told GameSpot that both Microsoft and Sony are keenly aware that people want to have the option to play a disc if they want. Digital game sales and the popularity and prevalence of digital services like streaming and subscription programs are growing year over year, but at the end of the day, giving people the option to play physical media is important, Hamlin says. Not only that, but unlike TV, movies, and music, industries that have all adopted a digital-first approach, the file sizes for games are generally much larger, and they're growing all the time as games become more and more content-rich and graphically impressive. As such, discs will continue to be important for some portion of the gaming audience for a long time to come, according to Hamlin. I think both Microsoft and Sony are keenly aware that the customer needs that opportunity, he said. We're very much a believer in helping our customers and sell them a physical game when they want it. So, yeah, I mean, I have to agree with what the GameStop boss is saying here. We all know that GameStop has its issues. They are having trouble staying afloat, and they're going to continue to have trouble staying afloat if things don't change. You see it talked about all of the time. And I think that if there's anything that's going to give them more time, it's certainly going to be the release of the next generation consoles with PS5 and Project Scarlet. And I'm an advocate for physical media for a lot of reasons. I think that the reasoning this individual brings up talking about file sizes, I think that that's a real possibility as well, where if we are going to be playing these games that look better than they've ever looked before and they're going to become bigger and all of that, we can expect the file sizes to increase as well. We saw it happen this generation. It's certainly going to happen again next generation. And so I think that there is going to be a pretty decent sized portion of people who are going to want to go out there and buy the physical disc because they just don't want to have to worry about data caps or whatever it may be. That's just one of many reasons. For me, it also has to do with tangible ownership and wanting to feel like I actually own something, and that if something went wrong one day or the internet's out or whatever it may be, I can still put a disc in my console and play it and not have to worry about it. I can play it offline, you know what I mean? That's another big thing about digital content. So yeah, I agree with what GameStop's chief customer officer, I guess that's his title, is saying here, and we're gonna have to wait to see how GameStop plans on trying to survive going forward, because things certainly are not looking good for them. And I think if there's any chance they're going to have, well, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if they're going to have any chance, but I do know that the next gen consoles are certainly going to help extend potentially their lifespan. So yeah, we're going to have to wait to see about that one. Be sure to let me know your thoughts about that down in the comments below. Do you actually agree with GameStop for once? I know that that's something we don't really talk about too often, but I will be interested to see what you guys have to say. Moving on from that, it says Inti creates President Takuya Eizu, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, I apologize if I'm not, has said that Sony and Microsoft might have a tough time competing with their next-gen consoles because exclusivity is going away and they need something that sets them apart. Speaking to Video Games Chronicle, Azu argued that most video games are now either multi-platform or they become multi-platform later on due to timed exclusivity. As a result, he thinks it will all come down to what the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet can offer at launch. He says, so when these companies put out new consoles, I think one of the most important things for them is going to be how many exclusives they can have at their launch. Because if they don't have those, then the chance that they're going to have a failed launch is going to be pretty high, I think. The other thing that will determine the new console's fate is the precedent that the Nintendo Switch has set. It does something new that no system can or has done. So whatever these new systems are, they're going to need to offer an experience that you can only have by owning it. I think that especially with the precedent the Nintendo Switch has set, that uniqueness is more important now than ever before. So Azu is also of the view that Nintendo has a firm grip on the portable market, and it'll be hard for any other company to compete with it. I think the only console that needs that portability to succeed is a potential Nintendo Switch successor. So, yeah, he's saying a lot of things here, and speaking to the exclusivity thing, I have to say that I don't really, I half agree with him. I agree with the part where he says that the launch lineup of each console will basically determine their success factor, although I think that applies much more so to Project Scarlet than the PlayStation 5. I saw somebody make a joke on my channel not too long ago in the comment section. They said something along the lines of, the PlayStation 5 could have literally 0 exclusive titles at launch and it would still end up outselling Project Scarlet. It would still end up selling relatively well, and I frankly believe that too. That's just kind of the level of excitement there is for the PlayStation 5. But I do agree that the launch titles are going to be very important, and I don't necessarily agree with what he's saying about exclusivity going away. Maybe speaking to Microsoft, yeah, they completely removed console exclusivity. So if you're talking about Microsoft, sure. But PlayStation, however, there's a lot of speculation that has been just kind of going around of people thinking that going into the PlayStation 5, Sony's essentially going to do the exact same thing Microsoft is. Now, I would say they're probably not going to, and I say that simply because what they've been doing, by actually having true console exclusives, has been working really well for them. It, in my opinion, is one of the major reasons they are the market leader, and it's one of the major reasons that out of the gate, like he talks about here with launch exclusives, it's done a really good job in kind of pushing hardware day one. So there's a couple of factors here. When we talk about exclusivity, are these launch titles going to be truly exclusive to the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Scarlet? I think when it comes to Xbox, we can safely say no. They're certainly going to be releasing on the Xbox One. That's just kind of the way Microsoft wants to do things. They've made that more than clear. When it comes to PlayStation, however, we really don't know the answer to that. So that could be a huge determining factor in how good of a start the PS5 has and whether or not it does struggle at launch. In that regard, I do think that launch exclusives for the PS5 will be a huge determining factor, but I don't necessarily agree that exclusivity is going away. I mean, to an extent it is, yes, but when it comes to PlayStation, they're still doing things traditionally, and they're doing, in my opinion, what works. And, there's a lot of people who say that, exclusives shouldn't exist, but, as long as they're trying to sell consoles and sell hardware in that way, it really makes a lot of sense for exclusive content to exist, because that's what they're going to use to entice customers to go out there and buy it. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And the final thing we're going to talk about here is how PlayStation is sponsoring EVO 2019, and it sparks speculation over new game announcements. So it says PlayStation is an official sponsor of EVO 2019. The event has revealed taking place early next month on the 2nd of August to the 4th of August. EVO is the world's largest annual fighting game tournament. This year, it's set to feature 9 main games, and 8 of them are being played on PlayStation 4. And then they list all of the games that are going to be there. But it says it's easy to see why PlayStation's chipping in then, and it's led to a lot of speculation regarding a new game announcement or new game announcements. We're already expecting a number of surprises. EVO has become something of an E3 style stage for fighting games, but could Sony itself have something up its sleeve? It's It's hard to say. I feel like there could be something, but at the same time, I'm not expecting anything. You know what I mean? Like, my expectations are low. Like, I feel like this is just maybe Sony's way of kind of, I don't know, maybe just remaining relevant throughout 2019 with branding and making sure that they're a part of things within the gaming industry. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people were saying that this is going to be the announcement of the new Street Fighter, because we know that Street Fighter 5 was an exclusive. So there's definitely that. I've seen some people saying it's going to be PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale 2 or whatever. I don't even know if I'm saying the title of that game right. I never played it. I know that there's definitely an audience that would want to see that happen. I wouldn't hold out hope for that. I'm just being brutally honest. I do not think that's going to happen. And so I honestly have no idea what it could be, you know, and I'm not going to sit here and speculate for too long about what it could be, because it could be nothing, you know, but it is nice to see that PlayStation is sponsoring EVO, and we're going to have to wait to see. It's not too long from now, so who knows, maybe it will be Street Fighter 6, I guess that's what it would be at this point, right? And we're going to have to wait to see if that's something that Capcom wants to do with Street Fighter, just like they did with Street Fighter 5. But we do know that Sony will be attending Gamescom, and a lot of you seem to be pretty hyped for that, and I've kind of told you guys maybe just lower your, I mean, I know it can be kind of a buzzkill, but we got to maybe lower our expectations just a little bit, because we need to understand that there's a good chance Sony's not going to announce anything new or anything big at Gamescom, but we also know they have that China Joy conference where they're going to be announcing some new stuff as well. So there's definitely going to be some stuff to talk about. The question is it going to be big and exciting stuff, or kind of like the smaller to you know, medium stuff that definitely is exciting to some people, but really not the big things that we've all been waiting and hoping for? We are going to have to wait to find out. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. Again, I know it wasn't the most exciting stuff in the world, but I'm doing my best to try to bring you guys content as frequently as I can and keep it as relevant as I can. So at this point, I'm going to ask you guys to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on everything we talked about here. Do you think we're going to get a new game announcement from Sony at EVO? What do you think about what this developer had to say about exclusivity going away and the PS5 and Scarlet struggling at launch? And what do you think about what GameStop had to say about being excited for the idea of physical discs and disc drives with the next consoles? Leave your thoughts down below. Leave the video a like if you did enjoy it. Really helps it out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.